Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rocket League Ireland Six Mans podcast. Enrong here on the desk today. I am joined by one of the residents within Division 3, Creeps and Peeps. Guys, joining me on the desk. How are you getting on, Creeps and Peeps?
Going pretty good. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for asking. Creeps, what I'm going to do firstly, as I always do with all of these, I'm going to do a quick roundup of the table, and then we'll get into asking you about the players and their stats. All right. So,
I'll do my best.
fantastic. Let's start things off. Captain Quark is currently leading Division 3 on 10 points. Paulie and Carrickdan are hot on his tail on 9 points each, with Julian M on 8 in 4th place. Dave Forehead is on 6, with Airside and Connor Moore on 5. Barzy, Dormer, and yourself are on 4 points. Gamer is on 3 with only the one series played. Rug is on 2. SPF Plays is on 0, and Jamingo is on -3 points currently. So, Creeps, let me get straight into it. And you obviously have the spreadsheet open in front of you at this moment in time, or at least I'm
Yeah,
hoping
I'm
so.
looking at it right now. Yeah.
Perfect, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick sort here on the points per game tab, column L. So my first question is, Carrick Dan is obviously had a phenomenal season with 430 points per game, which is really, really high. Anything above 300 is good. Sorry, anything above 350 is good. You want to be above 300 normally. Anything below
Yeah,
that's kind of.
I got a chance to play with him in the first series, and just playing along with him, he communicates a lot. He encourages communication big time on the headsets and stuff like that. And so just seeing that, and then even from last season to this season, he's always been a strong contender. And then just seeing his rank and stuff as well. Watching his play style, he definitely goes with he's consistently good at being aggressive and getting the shots towards the goal, which is always can put a defending team off guard, especially if you do it consistently. So watching him do that has always brought a lot of. I could see why he has a lot of points because of that, and he's leading the points because of that.
Fantastic, and obviously he's impressed you because of that. On the flip side, let's talk about maybe the weaker players in the division. I guess I'm looking more at SPF Plays, Captain Quark, well, somehow top of the table, Rug, Body. Maybe yourself a little bit of a question mark here, Mr. Peeps. But what do you think of the guys below 300? And I guess particular attention to SPF and Quark, especially since one's bottom and the other's top.
Yeah, it's ironic, isn't it, that Cork is at the top with one of some of the lowest points, but at the same time, you would have to break down as to who his teammates were as well, because some of these teams might mesh quite well. With Cork's play style, he has very strong saves. I'm sure we'll get to that as well. So he could be a more defensive player and a more passive player, as more aggressive players are taking advantage of that. But which is a reason for his having consistent wins as well. I'm saying that he's actually leads the division in saves, in the total amount of saves as well, with 58. So that could be a factor as to why, with a strong defensive game like that, potentially. The other players I haven't had a chance to see play too much, so I can't put too much input into that. So yeah, that's all I can say about that. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. Perfect. Let's move on then to, I guess, assists and goal participation per game. So I'm going to sort it very quickly on each of those, right? So column N and column O, right? So N obviously assists. Sorry, assists. What am I saying? Goals per game. Goals per game first, then assists, and then goal participation. So goals. Carrickdan is obviously up there again, and this is pretty reflective of where he was in this division last season before you joined us. Okay, but also
Yeah,
Connor Moore deserves a mention, I think, Mr. Peeps, and so does Barzy, Dormer. They all deserve a mention. They're over 0.8, which is really high.
That's goals per game. And one thing when I've played against Barzy is Barzi's a very aggressive player, and he's very good in regards to his aerial game is very good, and he can and he's rotates very quickly, especially if he's with Dormer. The two of them with each other rotate very quickly, and you have to be on your top defensive game, because the thing that they can do very well is get balls going towards the goal consistently every time. And if you mess up on defense once, that ball's going in the goal if they hit it, most likely.
I can already tell you're going to make a lot of friends because you're complimenting everyone. Even if someone's got a bad stat, you manage to turn it a different direction, which is just kind of like, wow.
Well, this is the things I observe when I'm playing, especially on if I'm playing on defense and watching these players play, how aggressive they are in regards to the offense, or how quickly they're rotating. and you just see that if you're on the defensive game and how often you're getting, if you're trying to clear it and they're coming in to block you, and then the other teammate's ready for the shot right away, the rotation game is really good, is nice and strong then.
Yeah. On the other
Um,
side, though, I want to point out something.
yeah.
Why are you second bottom on the goals per game? What's happening?
On second bottom, well, I haven't. I've played only 3 games. It
No,
looks
four.
high for the games.
Is it not four? Hold on. Or have
I've
someone
only
gotten this wrong?
played. Well, oh,
One.
yeah. Actually, I played 4, but the form is incorrect. It says lost win win. There should be a lost win win
Yeah,
loss
yeah.
there.
Whoever did that, Carrick, Dan, Joseph.
Um,
Yeah.
so I've actually played 4 series, and 3 of them have gone to 5 games. So, and then the last one was one I rather not talk about too bad. That one was a total blowout. But I could say the big reason on that one I was playing with Dormer and Cork actually,
Mm-hmm.
and but I could say the biggest one with that was communication. We just didn't talk. None of
Yeah.
us talked the whole time in that game, and there was that's a lot of double commits, a lot of rams into each other because of that.
Okay, cool.
And I was listening to last season's kind of talk through, and some of the players that should be higher, I think, that are not higher now. I would say a big factor of that is they're mechanically very skilled, and sorry about that, and so they're mechanically very skilled, and sometimes they feel like they might have to carry, and they end up breaking, or they'll attack much more, potentially breaking rotations because of that, because they feel like they have to carry, or they don't trust their teammates, which I've heard this is an ongoing thing with Division 3
Yeah, it is, especially with
issues.
this division, I would say, because there is a spread in rank, that's from the
Yeah,
higher to the lower, and that's understandable. We had that problem in Division 1 as well, I think. So that's kind of an ongoing issue, of course. That's what happens when you get a big spread of ranks in these divisions, isn't it? But
of course.
that's a topic for another day, indeed. There's no real need to talk about the assists in this regard. Julian, yourself, Barzy, Connor Moore are all doing a good job there. I want to talk about goal participation because I think this is equally as important, if not more so. Goal participation, of course, is goals plus assists, right? So we look at this, and everyone I would say above 1.1 is doing a good job. 1.2 ideally, but you've got 3 players who are standout offensive players. We've talked about Carrick Dan. What about Connor Moore? Have you seen much of this guy, and what if so?
I haven't seen much of Connor Moore yet. He was playing in some of the more recent games, and I haven't had a chance to be able to watch him. But I'll have to check out his highlights or some of the replay videos if I can grab a copy of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But with a 61% win percentage, 8-1-5 loss, and he's definitely a great passer. I would say at a 1.62 and a 0.62 on the assist per goal. I would say that's the big thing. Let's see, shooting percentage is also really high at 34%. He's the second highest player in the whole division in regards to shooting percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's that thing where and then what else as well? His saves are low, but
that just means maybe he's
besides
a bit more
that,
dominant. That's what
yeah,
that
he's
could mean
just an
as well.
aggressive player. He's an aggressive player, and this is the way I see it: is there's different play styles, and everyone has their different play styles. And when you get a great combination of play styles together, you're going to have a dominant team. Now, the goal is to have, I think of it as chess pieces. The goal is to have pieces that are queens. Queens is what you want to be. You want to be the ability to be aggressively offensive when it's time, and then aggressively defensive when you need to be. And then you can go back and forth very quickly and very mechanically sound. Some people are not like that, though. Some people are more like knights, where they're aggressive. They're very aggressive, but they're poor on defense. And then some people are like rooks, where they're very, very good on defense, but very poor on offense,
Mm-hmm.
or they just can't get the shots percentage up where they need to be. And that's where you need to think of yourself. Think of yourself what you are going to be, and then try to fix that area where if you feel like you're strong in somewhere, try to focus on where you're not strong and work on that, and try to make yourself that more well-rounded.
Perfect. No, great point, and I agree with that entirely. I mean, like, there's a reason why I think Paddy is doing so well in terms of where he is in the table. Like, his rank doesn't reflect where he should be in the table, really. And this is a well-known point. He's always kind of coming out on top, coming to him, because, I mean, he's second in the table, peeps. The guy's barely hit champ 1 and he's second in the table, surrounded by 1, 2 GCs. The rest are all Champ 3, Champ 2, Champ 1. There's an odd Diamond 2 player in there with SPF or Diamond 3 or whatever he is, Quark Diamond 2, Diamond 3. But like the rest are all like mid to high champ, and this guy is there who barely Champ 1, and he's fighting up there with the top as well.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's funny when you look at his stats too, because there's nothing that really ever sticks out super high with him, but he's still at the top 3 because
Communication, I was told, he's very, very good at communicating, and his
yeah,
rotations are very solid. He doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't risk. He doesn't go for anything risky and flashy and stupid, just
that's the
for the
thing.
sake of it.
Like to be a good all-rounded player, you can be a good all-rounded. A lot of people focus on maybe offense or in their training packs, especially they're going to focus on somewhere, and that's going to make them really good in maybe offense or defense. But if you see like Potty, he said he doesn't. He's not excelling incredibly high in the stats wise anywhere. The color codes show that he's nowhere in the green range except for win percentage. But that doesn't mean he's a bad player at all. He said he's good at rotation, he's good at communication. That's two key things that you need to at least be a very viable teammate to a 3-man team.
Hmm. Absolutely. The only other thing I want to point out in the goal participation per game is SPF 0.56, quite low, 0.06 assists per game. So he's obviously just maybe not quite cut out for this level, would you say? Have you seen anything of him? What are your thoughts?
Well, it was actually funny as I was looking at the video for last season's video, and that was one of the predictions was FPF might fall down to Division 4, and so that was an interesting prediction. And now we're seeing where he's at now. Not and let's see the assists per game 0.06. That's way too low. He needs to be able to provide a lot more assist capabilities. Points per game is 212. He's the lowest in the division. And then saves per game is 0.95. Again, lowest, second lowest in the division. And so that defensive game and his assist game are seems to be his weakest points.
Hmm.
So that would be something that maybe he would want to work on is working on passing plays with another teammate maybe, and working on doing some defensive training packs.
Okay. I'm going to point out another stat. The next column, P, is goals conceded per game. I only want to point out one because there's 3 really good ones, of course, under Barzy, Julian M, and is it Dave Forehead, I believe. And it's actually funny because Barzy has a 0.78 saves per game, but I'll come to that in a second. Jamingo, I've highlighted him,
Yeah, kind of ironic.
2.84. What is this? Like, his saves are very high per game. His goals conceded are very high per game. He just plays defense by the looks of it, would you say? And he just gets scored on.
Who is this again? I'm sorry.
Jamingo. Jamingo.
Uh, goals conceded, saves per game. Let's see.
So his goals conceded, his saves per game is the highest in the division, and his goals are goals conceded are the highest as well. The red and blue one, if you can see me highlighting them here.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's an interesting that he has the highest saves per game, but the goals conceded per game. I would be curious to see what teams he was organized with on that one. That might have affected maybe the play styles didn't mesh, or maybe the defensive styles didn't mesh too well on that one. But with games won, games lost, 9, 12 games played in total.
Yeah, he's been on, I would say, the weaker team twice out of his
I would
3
say
games.
I said I would be curious to review those goals and how those goals were conceded to see where that's landing, because there's nothing else really sticking out to me that makes sense why it's like that.
Okay, perfect. I guess the final one then I want to point out, because I'm not going to talk about the saves per game because no one's particularly standing out here except for maybe Carrick Dan, and he's obviously just been a very solid player. Shots per game and shooting percentage is next, okay? I'm going to highlight these again, and I'm just going to sort them just to make it easier for our lovely streamers. What do you want me to sort it by? Do you want to go by shots or shooting percentage? What are you thinking yourself? What would you like to see? Whichever one you
I'll go
want.
shots. Go shots per game.
Let's go shots per game. So right. So Dormer, Carrick Dan, Julian, Connor Moore, Barzy, all huge shots per game. Then the lower end, anything below 2 isn't really good enough. Forehead, SPF, Captain Quark, you, and Rogue. What's this about, huh?
So I mean, for myself, I can say I'm more of a twos player. So I've always played a more passive as a shadow defender kind of thing, where especially if a few of my games I've had very strong aggressive players, and so my play style will adjust to those aggressive players, which means I will pull back and let them play their aggressive game. More so, sometimes that doesn't work out. Sometimes it does, as a loss win loss for me. But other players that are higher ranked than myself, like Barzy and Dormer, especially, I know from those two guys, those two guys love to be teamed together, and they're always hoping to be teamed together because, and the shots per game shows it. They're both players are very, very aggressive players. Barzy is very, very aggressive player.
Very fast as well.
I'm going to go back to the saves per game, even though they can't see it right now, but he has 0.78 saves per game on Barzy. And when I have played with him, because of that aggressiveness, sometimes he've risked the goal being left open because of that. When you get the 2 aggressive players or 3 aggressive players all up like that, all trying to attack, it can leave their goal wide open, and that's why saves per game can drop. Dormer's saves per game is 1.18. Barzy's is 0.78. And so those can get quite lower when you're on the offense and playing this aggressive shots per game, and it can bite you in the butt sometimes.
So what you're saying is Dormer, Barzy, and Jamingo will be the ideal team.
Yes.
Yeah. That would clearly be the ideal team with that saves.
Yeah, looking at their saves per game, that would be the ideal team. Is you got 2 guys, you got 2, I would call them knights, and 1 rook.
Yeah. Okay. The chess analogies are coming out here. And next thing you know, then they'll end up getting trioed by Poddy, SPF, and Quark. That's what will happen now. You know, that's just pretty much just to ruin that. But okay.
I think if you keep those chess analogies going as you go higher up in the divisions here, and you work your way up to Premier Division, you interview those guys, you'll start noticing it's going to be more queens.
I'm not
mostly
sure
all queens.
I'm not sure if they're going to appreciate that one because that could imply something completely different. But, okay, let's look at the final one here. Shooting accuracy. The only one I want to point out really is Julian M. He puts up a lot of shots per game. He's not scoring them. Him and Captain
Rug's
Quark.
got a lot of shots too.
Yeah. Well, Rug is very, very high shots. Yeah, but when he does take the shot, he scores. So he's got a 50-50 chance. So if he could up that to 2 shots per game, he's got a chance of scoring 1 per game. So that's all he's got to do, right? Based on that logic.
Yeah, right. Again, it's one of those things that the highest player is 44%, the lowest player is 19%, and
17 even with Julian.
Oh, Julian's even 17. Yeah, I see that now. And so that's one of those things is those shooting percentages are what's going to dictate for more experienced players, like I would say Barzy or Carrick Dan. It's going to affect how they play as well, because if those lower shooting percentage players are going for a shot, the higher percentage players and the higher skill players, they're going to think in their back of their head, that guy's not going to get it. Mm-hmm. That guy is going to get blocked. It's going to get saved, or it's going to be a bad shot overall, or it's just going to hit the post. It's going to do something that's not going into the goal where it should be. And so those guys are going to start losing their trust a little bit in these team plays and start being more aggressive, because they know if this ball isn't going in the goal every time or going towards the goal every time, then we're going to be playing on the defensive game and we're going to get beat. And so these rotations can start breaking down because of that. And these communications can start breaking down because of that as well. And it can be quite frustrating for higher ranked players because of that.
Okay. Would you say it's a strength or weakness of the players in general, their communications in, I guess, this division?
Oh, I mean, communications is always a strength. I want to say which players are strong or weak in it. I do find irony in some of the facts that games I've played where people are like, all right, guys, we need to talk. And then no one talks. And so you're like, oh, okay. And so it can be weird like that, or ironic and like that. But the teams where I have played where people are really intent on focusing on talking and making sure that all communications go around. And if someone falls away from talking, to kind of get that person back up and going again, to be like, hey, man, you need to start talking more. You need to start talking more. The teams I've been on with that has always played so much better and end up winning because they enforce that. The teams that just don't care, or they just don't enforce the talking, they feel bad that they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to be a dick, I don't want to be the person that's going to bother them for telling them that they're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Those are going to be the teams that are going to struggle, and they're going to get maybe cleared out, or totally it's going to be just they're going to be struggling to win. and
Perfect.
it's not going to be a good series.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's come to the table then, and then because of the point you just iterated, I'm going to ask you, who do you think's the best at calming, and who do you think needs serious work on it?
From my experience and from the players I've played with that I've been in comms with, Carrick Dan's probably one of the better calmers that I've talked to, and who enforces it and doesn't care what people think in the team and makes sure that everyone keeps on talking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Players that I've had trouble that, from my experience, Dormer has a hard time communicating. He starts focusing too much, and I feel like that's why maybe he's not as high as he should be.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of players don't know we don't know what we're doing. Um, Cork, I've had some talk like he's said things like we should start talking, but he doesn't start talking, and so and so
Oh, that's
um
hilarious. A bit like
and so
myself.
that's what those can kind of be the areas that I've seen where you just like, okay, oh, what's going on? I mean, you're still having fun, but you're just like, I don't know more.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Okay, cool.
from from that, but Potty's a great communicator. Carrick's a great communicator. I've played Julian in games outside of the season. He's a great communicator. Um,
Fantastic.
who I mean, a lot of the top players right now in the season are great communicators, and some of the lower players might have struggled communicating.
So you're basically saying yourself, right?
So I mean, I have my on and off days, but I'm sure there's people that I play with be like, yeah, he doesn't say anything, he just goes. So
That's it. Well, you better. It's better for someone to go than to just sit in net. Am I right?
you're right.
Okay, let's talk about the division finally. Let's wrap this up. Okay. Based off of what you've seen so far, who do you think really is the best player in this division, standout player, and who do you think is the weakest?
Mechanically, uh, if the RNG treats them well, if Dormer and Barzy can get team together, they will beat most people, I would say. Um, Carrick Dan is a very strong player. I think he'll be one of the top players as well. Potty's a great communicator. And I would say the RNG is really going to dictate where this season goes from this
Okay.
point on. There's not a huge spread on points, honestly, at this mid season.
No, absolutely not.
It's really anyone's game, and this when we do this again, this could be completely different the way the positions are.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch it back at the end of the season and go, wow, how the hell was that guy ninth and now he's like second,
Yeah,
or how the hell was that guy in third and now he's like 12th and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the division is fantastic at the moment. It's like the most exciting division in terms of what's happening. I think this and Division 4 are really really good, but obviously there's the relegation side to this division as well,
yeah.
which
I
is
know
obviously
the first three games were all 5 game series for me, and I can say probably at least 5, 6 other people can say the same thing, that they've all had 5 game series, and so it's been probably one of the more entertaining series
mhm.
or divisions to watch on. And every game I'll say that I ever play in, I always rewatch it, and even rewatching it for 30 minutes, I enjoy it all.
Okay, perfect. Okay, crunch time. Final predictions. Who do you think is going to go down?
Go down.
Yes,
Well, looking at
relegation.
it for now, Jamingo's got 3 losses, so that's going to be unless he gets more games in and he has a hell of a streak, that's going to be a tough to recover from. SPF plays. He was predicted last season to go down, and he's down in the bottom 3 right now. So I would say that he's sticking with in that area unless he can have a hell of a recovery or a great RNG in some of these games. Um, a third one, Ruggs only played 2 games. I can't really put that on anything, so I can't say that he's going to be bad or not. He's just only played 2. He needs to play more.
Yeah, Gamer as well has only played 1.
Gamers only played 1, so I can't really say anything about them two. So I'm going to leave the third spot open. Honestly, I can't
Oof.
say anyone about that.
No problem. I'll put it into there. So I think Dave Forheit. No, I'm joking. Can you imagine?
Yeah, drop him 2 divisions because I
Okay.
know he dropped from the Division 2
Two, he
last
did.
season.
He did.
Yeah,
He did indeed. Him and Jamingo dropped Div 2 last season. Okay. Who's going to promote?
promote. I think if Dormer plays more, I think if Barzy plays more, they will win more, and I think they will get higher up.
Mm-hmm.
Carrick Dan, if he plays more, I think he will control the division.
So
Yeah, those are my top 3.
yeah. So your top three best players are basically
Yeah.
going to be the top three. They're going to go up. You think the
Yeah.
RNG is going to sort out for those three?
Yeah. Well, I think I think if Dormer communicates more with his teams and he trusts his teams more, he will go up to the top. I think Barzy is a little bit more cautious on defense. He will go up to the top, and I think Carrick Dan's doing actually really well. I think he'll be up to the top.
Yeah. I think he's been on some weaker teams and he's pulled out some really good wins. You think?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I gathered. He's on 4 and
Yeah.
3, but honestly, with the teams he had,
Bart. Yeah.
he shouldn't really be on that score. I think from some of the teams he's had, he really shouldn't. I think there's one series where he probably could say I probably should have won it or maybe done better in, but all of the series he really shouldn't have won. I think,
Yeah.
compared to what he should have. Right.
I know.
Okay. Final question for you is, what's your experience been of it? Your first season? Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it very much. So I can't really complain at all. You know, everyone's been really, really nice and welcoming and everything. And so we got a new player in Mahalan, and he's said the same thing, that he's enjoyed everyone's company, and everyone's been very welcoming. And I look forward to basically, coming to land and seeing
Yeah,
everyone in
let's
person.
go, man. Land,
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah,
nuts. Yeah, nice, fantastic. I'm looking forward to meeting you all that, man. We're gonna have some time.
yeah.
All
It's gonna be
right.
fun.
Cool. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Today I've been joined by Creeps and Peeps here on the desk. I'm Enrong. We will see you for the final video, which will of course be the Premier Division 1. Thanks very much, guys, and have a good one.
See ya.